Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's me, Victoria Baxter of the JAL Ministry. And if you are seeing this face on a Wednesday, then obviously it's time for Wisdom Wednesdays. And this is when I take just a few minutes. I maybe came across a scripture and I just wanted to provide either some type of insight, clarity, or maybe even a prophecy, something that God spoke to me about that scripture. And I was then led to share it with you all. So that's what I'm doing today. And this one is actually coming out of Matthew chapter 17. I like this chapter, and I know I say that about everything, but I do. I love reading the Bible. I'm pretty sure you all can tell that by now. But in Matthew chapter 17, what we have is the transfiguration. I know I've posted about that before. That's one of my favorite things because I like the fact that Jesus was always with the 12 disciples, but when he was being elevated, he only took three up to the top with them. And I think I'd even posted saying, sometimes when you're being elevated, not everybody can go with you. Not everyone is meant to come with you to the next level. So sometimes, in life, you have to leave certain people behind. Everyone can't be there for everything. But as you continue to go down from the transfiguration, we then see Jesus ends up healing a demon possessed boy. Shortly after that, that is where I want to get to. It's from Matthew 17, verses 22 through 23. And I'm reading the NLT right now. But what it says is, after they gathered again in Galilee, Jesus told them, "The Son of Man is going to be betrayed into the hands of his enemies. He will be killed, but on the third day, he will be raised from the dead." And the disciples were filled with grief. I think the reason I find that to be a little interesting, a little profound, at least in my mind, is because it's something that I see with many different people. It's like God promises us all these different things. We read the scriptures, we hold on to the promises, we see the prophecies, we hear the prophecies, all of these other things. But it's like as soon as something starts happening, as soon as something starts going on, how quickly it is for us to forget what it is that He already spoke to us, how quickly it is for us to forget what it is that we already know is going to happen because he has promised it to us. So in this case, it's like he's letting them know what's going to happen, but he's saying, hey, on the third day, I'm going to raise again. Like he is going to be raised from the dead. But it's like the disciples couldn't even hold on to the promise at the end because they were too stuck on the action that had to happen first. They were frustrated with the process. Let's say that, because I see a lot of people, and especially with me doing, coaching and ministry and stuff like that, a lot of people get frustrated with the process because they haven't yet gotten to the promise. And that's exactly what we see here with the disciples. It's like they heard the bad, but not the good. And isn't that just like you? Isn't that like me? Isn't that like a lot of people that we find ourselves surrounded by? We want the blessing, we want the testimony, but we don't want the mess and we don't want the test. And we have to understand that these things go hand in hand. You can never be restored if you've never been in disarray. You won't see how much he can provide for you if there's never been a time that you weren't needing something. I know that we don't like to think about sickness, any type of illness or disease, whether it's mental illness, whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's grief, anything like that. But how would you know that he's the God that heals if you've never been in a point where you needed healing, where you've never experienced something that had you in despair, something that maybe had you crushed, maybe something that had you, upset, brokenhearted, whatever the case might be. We just have to keep in mind that the process and the promises, they go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. You can't, go on to want to deliver a great message if you never want to deal with the mess. You can't be excited about delivering the testimony if you've never experienced any type of test. And I can speak from my own personal experience as I wrap this up. But a little over a year ago, I kept hearing God say to me over and over and over again, trust me, trust me, trust me. And if I'm not mistaken, at first it started with the question. It was like, do you trust me? I was like, of course, God, of course I trust you. But then he kept asking that, do you trust me? Do you trust me? And I was like, yeah, of course, God, I do. But then after all, he stopped asking. He just started telling me, I need you to trust me. Trust me. Trust me. And of course, at this point, I'm like, well, God, I was trusting you and I was believing, but now I'm not. Like, what's going on? But it's like the minute that I said, yes, I trust you, the minute that I said, okay, God, have your way, have your will, do whatever needs to be done. I know it's all for your glory, and I know that you're going to get the victory either way. But it's almost like, and I hate to say all hell broke loose, but it's almost like the minute that I said that, it was like boom, 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 boom. It was like one thing after another. So many different things started happening all around me in every area and aspect of my life. It was just chaotic. And even now, it's like I'm just now coming out of that. But this past year, so many people would be amazed if they knew the things that I went through. But I knew that I had to go through all the tests in order to have the testimony. And I know that I had to, all that had to happen in order for me to be able to encourage somebody else, in order to bless someone else. And of course, I know that not everyone is aware, but JAL, the JAL ministry, it stands for just a little. And I know it sounds crazy to some, but for me, that's what God has me doing. It's saying, hey, I need you to, provide just a little faith, just a little hope, just a little encouragement for anybody, whatever it is that they're going through, whatever it is that they're dealing with. I need you to reach my people. I need you to provide some faith, some love, whatever. I need you to provide just a little of it, because a little bit goes a long way in the hands of God. So with me, I no longer get frustrated when I go through certain things, because I know that the test and the testimony, they go hand in hand. And I know that he's going to bring me out of it. I'm holding on to his promises. I'm trusting him during the process. And I know that during this time, a lot of these things, they have to happen, because like James 1:2-4 says, I have to count it all joy, because I know that right now, the patience and the endurance and everything that is going to come out of my situation and out of my season and where I'm at right now. But not only that, if I'm called into ministry and if I'm supposed to be reaching people and encouraging people and speaking life over other people, and also helping them to understand the gifts that they have within themselves and the authority that they also have, I had to go through every single thing that I've currently endured. Everything that I've gone through, it all is going to play a part. Every single thing plays a part. We know that all things work together for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. So I've learned to trust him. And yes, I'll admit, over the past couple of months, there were times when I was like, all right, God, I'm looking at you a little cray-cray. I'm giving you the side eye. What's going on at this point? I was trusting you, but now I'm a little bit whatever. And it was like, just like that, the enemy, started getting me off track and everything. And I started to get a little bit like Peter, where at first, Peter was focused on Jesus and he was walking on water, woohoo! But then it was like the minute that he took his eyes off Jesus and he started focusing on the waves, it's like he forgot that the same one who created those things could also calm those things. So for a second, I took my eyes off Jesus and I started focusing on the waves and the storms. And we get frustrated because sometimes when we're in that wilderness season, it's like, okay, God, I was hearing you clearly before. Where are you now? But I had to realize that a lot of times when we can't hear him during the in the wilderness season, it's because we're supposed to hold on to the promises that he already spoke over us. So I hope this encourages someone today. Don't despise the process that you're currently in. Don't despise the test. Don't despise the mess, because soon you're going to have a message. You're going to have a testimony. You're going to have a story to share, and you're going to understand why you had to endure every single thing that you've currently gone through in this season. It's all going to make sense, I promise you. So just these things go hand in hand. And I hope you're able to look at that scripture in just a little bit of a different light. And again, that was Matthew 17, verses 22-23. And I was in the NLT translation, one of my favorites out of many. But God bless you all. I love you all, of course. And again, it's me, Victoria Baxter. To learn more about this ministry and to sign up for the newsletter, videos, blog, shop, whatever, www.thejalministry.com. I pray that you all have a fantastic rest of the day and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.